Ethan Cole always believed strength meant control, not kindness, not patience, control. At 17, he had inherited it like a birthright. His shoulders were broader than most boys his age, his voice deeper already. Teachers called him a natural leader. Coaches trusted him with authority. And at home, he filled the empty space his father had long left behind. Until one evening, when everything shattered. 12-year-old Noah sat on the living room carpet, school books spread in front of him, shoulders curled like a cornered animal. A history book lay open, the words unreadable through his tears. Ethan hovered over him, voice low but sharp. "Look at this," he said, holding Noah's paper in the air like an accusation. "Another F? Are you even trying anymore?" Noah's lips trembled. He stared at the carpet. "I tried," he whispered. Ethan laughed, a humorless sound. "No, you didn't. You never do." He paced the room like a judge in a courtroom, every step echoing. "You think Mom busts her back at that job so you can sit here and fail? You think the world's gonna feel sorry for you just because you're small and quiet?" Noah didn't answer. That silence flipped something in Ethan. He grabbed the book and slapped it down onto the table. "Answer me!" Noah flinched. "I did," he said again, quieter. "I tried." Ethan leaned down until their faces were inches apart. "Then why are you still failing?" Noah's eyes finally lifted, and in them wasn't laziness. It was fear. But Ethan didn't know how to read that. He mistook fear for defiance. "You're useless if you don't get stronger," Ethan snapped. "I'm trying to fix you. Someone has to." Noah hugged his arms around his chest. "You're not fixing me. You're just hurting me." That word landed hard. Before Ethan could respond, the front door opened. Boots hit the hallway floor. Their father, Daniel Cole, stood frozen in the doorway, and he had heard everything. The silence that followed felt heavier than yelling ever could. Ethan straightened. "Dad, I was—" Daniel said quietly. One word, but it carried something dangerous. Not anger, grief. Daniel took another step inside, then another. His face was pale, his eyes fixed not on Ethan, but on Noah. The boy had shrunk into himself like he'd failed some invisible test. Daniel walked across the room and knelt in front of him. "Noah," he said gently. Noah shook. "I didn't mean to—" Daniel cut him off, softly. "I know, son." Then something inside Ethan snapped. That should have been his line. That should have been his authority. "You always do this," Ethan burst out. "You walk in and suddenly I'm the bad guy. You have no idea what he's like when you're not here." Daniel stood, and now his gaze finally met Ethan's. "You don't either," he said. Ethan froze. What does that mean? Daniel didn't raise his voice, which made it worse. "It means you've become the thing you're pretending to protect him from." Ethan swallowed. "That's not—" "You think strength is control," Ethan continued. "You think yelling makes you powerful. You think being feared makes you respected." He lowered his voice. "But what you're doing, that's how boys learn to hate themselves." Noah stared at the floor. Ethan's hands clenched into fists. "So what? He's just a victim now?" Ethan scoffed. "He gets to fall apart and I'm the villain?" "No," Daniel said. "You're the warning." The room fell apart inside Ethan. "I don't get it," he said, voice rough. "I was just trying to make him tough." Daniel looked at him for a long moment. Then he whispered, "You didn't make him tough. You made him afraid." Noah's breathing broke. "Dad, please don't be mad." Daniel turned to him immediately. "Oh, buddy," he said softly, "I'm not mad at you at all." Noah's eyes filled again. "Then why does it feel like everything I touch breaks?" The question cut Ethan open. He sat down suddenly, the anger draining from him. Daniel put one hand on Noah's shoulder. "Nothing about you is broken," he said firmly. Then he looked at Ethan. "But something here is being taught wrong." And for the first time in his life, Ethan wasn't the leader in the room. He was the one being examined.
Ethan didn't sleep that night. The words echoed over and over. You made him afraid. It didn't sound real. It couldn't be. He paced his room long past midnight, pulling at his hair, replaying every moment of the past year, every shove, every insult, every time he pulled himself he was helping. Around 2 a.m., his door creaked open. Daniel stood in the half-lit hallway. "Can I come in?" Ethan didn't answer, but he didn't say no. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed. "You were never just angry," Daniel said quietly. Ethan stared at the wall. "Then what was I?" Daniel hesitated. "Scared." The word landed harder than shouting ever could. "Of what?" Ethan whispered. Daniel exhaled. "Of becoming me." Silence. Ethan turned. "What does that mean?" Daniel looked down. "I left you to become a man too early," he confessed. "I walked out on your childhood, and you built armor out of authority." Ethan's throat tightened. "So this is your fault now?" Daniel shook his head. "No, it's my responsibility." Then softer. "And so is it yours." Ethan wiped his eyes angrily. "I didn't mean to hurt him." "I know," Daniel said. "But you did." Ethan whispered. "I don't know how to fix it." Daniel leaned forward. "Then listen. Don't lead. Don't lecture. Don't bully him into healing." Ethan swallowed hard. "Just be his brother again." The next morning, Noah almost didn't come out of his bedroom. He sat on his bed with his backpack already on, eyes red, waiting for something bad to happen. Ethan stood outside the door longer than he meant to. Finally, he knocked. No answer. "Noah," he said softly, "can I come in?" Silence. Then, "Okay." The door opened inches. Noah didn't look at him. Ethan stepped in slowly. "I'm not here to yell." Noah's shoulders stiffened. "I wouldn't blame you if you were," Ethan added shallowly. Noah's head snapped up. Ethan struggled. "I don't know how to say this right," he confessed. "But I was wrong about you." Noah said nothing. Ethan stepped closer. "I thought being hard would make you strong." His voice broke. "But it only made you lonely." Noah whispered, "I didn't want to be alone anymore." Ethan sat down. "I know." Noah hesitated, then asked, "Are you still mad?" Ethan shook his head violently. "I'm ashamed." That was worse than yelling. Noah stared at him. "I never wanted to make you angry," he whispered. He swallowed. "I just wanted to disappear sometimes." Ethan flinched. "No," he said. "Don't say that." Noah shrugged sadly. "I already do." Ethan's heart cracked open. Then he did something he had never done before. He cried in front of his brother. Not quiet tears, not hidden ones, real ones. "I'm here," he whispered. "I swear, I am here now." Noah hesitated. Then slowly, he stepped forward and hugged him. And Ethan realized something terrifying. It wasn't discipline the boy had needed. It was safety. Healing
wasn't loud. It didn't come with speeches or hugs every day. It came in small moments, mundane ones. Ethan walked Noah to school for the first time since he was 10. They sat together at dinner instead of across the room like strangers. Ethan helped him with homework without raising his voice, and Noah slowly breathed again. But pain doesn't vanish just because love shows up. Not right away. One night, Noah had a nightmare. He woke up shaking. Ethan heard it through the wall. He didn't hesitate. He came in and sat beside him. No words, just presence. Noah whispered, "Do you still think I'm weak?" Ethan swallowed. "No," he said. "I think you're brave in a way I never was." Noah turned. "How?" Ethan whispered, "You survived me." Noah didn't cry. He leaned into him instead. And for the first time, Ethan didn't feel like he had to be a wall. He could just be a brother. At school, Ethan began to change too. He stopped shouting, stopped controlling, stopped performing power, and started practicing restraint. And one day, Noah brought home a B on a math test. He held it up like a treasure. Ethan smiled. "Good job." No lecture, no pressure, just pride. Noah beamed like he'd been handed the world. One afternoon, Daniel watched them laughing together on the couch. He realized something painful. The damage hadn't been in screams. It had been in silence. And silence was finally being broken. Noah whispered one night, "You don't scare me anymore." Ethan closed his eyes. "Good," he said quietly. "I want you to feel safe, even when I'm gone." Noah looked at him. "You're not leaving." Ethan shook his head. "Not like Dad did." Noah smiled. "Then stay." Ethan nodded. "I'm staying."
Years passed. Ethan grew taller, older, wiser. Noah stopped shrinking inside rooms. He took up space now. He spoke without apology. Daniel watched his sons change and tried every day to earn the word father again. Noah graduated middle school. Ethan attended every event, front row, loudest applause. Not as a watchman, as family. One night, years later, Noah sat on the same couch where he'd once felt invisible. Ethan joined him. "I used to think you hated me," Noah said. Ethan shook his head gently. "I hated myself." Noah thought for a moment, then smiled. "I'm glad you learned how not to." They sat in peace. No fear, no shouting, no silence. Just brothers, just home. And for the first time in a long time, the house felt full. Not of dominance, but of safety.